I didn't go to school for this.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't go to DJ school. I didn't.
Let's talk about it, because it's going to all come up. This will all come up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm ready when you are,
all right,
man.
perfect. Balt Getty, finally, we're sitting down together. My man. We talked about doing this for a minute now, and I'm glad that it did take a lot longer for us to kind of get to this point, because I feel like I now like kind of understand who you are more.
Yeah.
And that's why I really wanted you to be on Game Changers, because I feel like people need to know the understanding of like you and your upbringing and kind of like what you've done in order to really understand what you're doing today.
Absolutely.
So that's why I wanted to kind of, give this insight, and over the last, like probably a couple of months that we've been interacting, you're just a good guy.
Thank
you know what I mean? All I hear from people that I talk to, they're like, yo, Bolt's the man.
Right.
You know what I mean? I need something. He's there.
Right.
So I appreciate you sitting down with us.
Yeah. No,
and let's just let's give a little overarching, both as our Getty, part of the Getty family, one of the richest families in the world.
That's right.
Stories for days.
That
go on there. You put it in. I've done my research.
Right.
But to you, what does your family tree mean? Like, what is it to you?
I'll tell you real quick. I was raised by my mother.
Mm-hmm.
My dad actually had a drug overdose when I was 5, and he spent the rest of his life in a wheelchair as a quadriplegic, essentially.
Yeah.
Although we had an incredible relationship, and my mother and him ended up being best friends, and I didn't grow up with a dad, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then I had this last name, like this Getty thing, like
that's gotta be
overshadowing me in a way. And as a youngster, my way of combating it was to be wild.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
A lot of kids go through that exact kind of thing.
But this was like this was like beyond.
Because you add a lot more to it.
That's right, because I'm so, I don't want to say desperate, but I'm motivated to prove to them I'm not what they think I am.
Mm-hmm.
That got me into a lot of trouble.
Are you saying to prove to your parents or to prove to the world?
My peers and the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally when we think of rich kids or kids from a wealthy family or whatever, it's normally not good things following that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, the norm is that the son or the daughter or the whatever, they blow through all the cash, they have 5 marriages, they have blah, 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 blah. That's not our story as a family.
Yeah.
So just fast forward, the ups and the downs and the running from the name and the overcompensating to coming to a place of pride.
Yeah.
Really. And gratitude and pride, really. Because if you look back and you see what my family accomplished.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Even within this city alone, I mean.
You see it on the daily. You drive the 405. You see the Getty Museum up there. Right. The Getty Villas down in Malibu.
That's right. And what people don't realize is my great grandfather, J. Paul, left the largest endowment still to this day to any museum or institution. So much that it allowed them to build the Getty Center.
See, it's crazy because you say those things, and for the outsider, they think, wow, that's so amazing. And it is amazing. But yeah, as a person trying to, part of that family, live up to those things and the way that they talk about a great grandfather,
right.
That's a burden.
It can be. It's that whole, that figure of speech, the gift and the curse. If you're lucky like me, you had a mom that raised you right.
Because you lived in San Francisco for a while, and you weren't living lavishly.
Not at all. I mean, so this is, I think the reason that I'm alive and semi-normal and not in that weird bubble is because the first quarter of my life essentially didn't have squat. I didn't even know what that name really was. I lived with my mother and my sister. We lived in a teepee at one point.
I read that, but I was like, did you really live in a teepee?
Yeah, so my mom was one of these. She's always on a quest of enlightenment.
Yeah.
And that took her down lots of roads.
Yeah.
And from Buddhism to scream therapy to whirling therapy to Taiko Dojo, and as kids we just like
went along with it. Yeah, I mean, you don't have the choice as a kid.
Yeah, and so we really lived hand to mouth, and I know that's hard for people to grasp, but just because your grandfather has paper, trust me, go to England, see how many rich kids who have big names because their great-grandfather had money.
Yeah.
And
just because you have the name does not necessarily mean you have the bank account.
Not at all. Not at all. And especially in the traditional way is, unfortunately, it's death. You know.
Yeah.
And then
you don't
the
get
next kid in line, you know, which for me I think is very morbid, and it pushes one's mind to that obvious place where you don't want to go, but you know, your opponent will take you there. I don't ever want my kids in the back of their mind to wonder when I'm going to kick the bucket.
So that they can have some money.
Because trust me, if somebody tells you they hadn't had that thought, they're lying. And you would never act on it, obviously, but
the knowledge.
As humans, we have so many bizarre thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? So it's only natural that there's going to become this subconscious thing where in order to be rich, death must occur.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Is that what happened in your case? Because obviously you're living in San Francisco.
That's what happened in my case. And, you know, I didn't really understand anything to do with, like, what it means to be a Getty, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Like, all families are the same, right?
Yeah.
We got the crazy uncle. We got
for sure.
What I mean. It's like,
Thanksgivings and Christmas are all the same.
The only difference is a lot of my stuff was under the public's eye, so to speak.
Yeah.
Shit, I forgot where I was going.
Well, and then that's an interesting point that you say, like, the public's eye, because today, more than anything, the public's eye is allowed to see even more. And you have 4 kids.
Yeah.
How do you manage that kind of public's eye for them? Because you know what it is to grow up as a Getty and to go through those things.
Yeah. Well, luckily, like, all the mistakes I made along the way, I've been able to turn into lessons and to pass them along. Like, I'm deadly honest.
Yeah.
And I think if more people could be that way, even at the expense of creating an awkward moment, but if you can really be that way, not hurtful, we'd all save a lot of time and a lot of headaches. And so I never tried to hide who I was from my children. Of course, they don't need the gory details.
Of course.
But I never tried to live this, like, double life where...
Well, and the fact that these days you will find it out. You know what I mean?
And this was even... Bro, do you know the iPhone's only been around for 10 years?
Crazy.
Think about that.
I know. You don't really remember anything else any different to the iPhone.
We're talking about a technology that is so new. Like, and we as humans are on that ride.
Yeah.
And they're just starting to find out some of the implications of looking at screens for extended periods of time and this and that. But in terms of, like, I just never hide things from my kids.
Where does that come from, though? Because I feel like I saw an interview with you and your wife Rosetta, and she was saying that you're so honest with her when it comes to what, because she's a designer and works in the art world as well.
Well, she's not to interrupt.
No, for sure.
She's an incredible designer and has a line called Rosetta Getty, and selling all over the world. And the business is growing and growing, and she's dressed everybody from Michelle Obama to Kristen Stewart to Michelle Williams.
Amazing.
On and on and on and on. And she's built an amazing business.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wanted
Yeah,
to
no, so
give her that plug, you know?
For sure. And so that's kind of where it was going of like, where does that honesty come from? Like, do you feel like that was like a young thing that people put in you, or is that something that you've learned?
I've learned it.
Okay.
I've learned it because, look, time on this planet is just going to give you more. How old are you?
31.
Right. So I've been here longer.
Yeah.
I know more than you.
Yeah. No, it's
you
a
might
realization.
know subject matters, but I know more than you.
Yeah.
Just, by the very, by the reality that I've been here
for longer.
Yeah. So I've had to teach it to myself because my nature is like people pleaser. In the sense that, you know what I mean? I want to, I want people to be light, have a good time. I use a lot of sense of humor. I don't want to, it's funny. People you think are confrontational are often people pleasers.
For sure.
And people pleasing to a certain extent is good.
Yeah.
Because to act pleasantly and with compassion to friends, people you come in contact with is good. But if you're doing it and at the same time you're sort of compromising things. So I think in that interview she sort of joked or said, like, if she puts on an outfit and she asks me what
you think.
I'm not going to be a dick.
Yeah.
But in this culture, guys are trained to say, you look
beautiful in anything. Yeah.
Right. That's not true.
No, for sure.
If you put a garbage bag over your head.
And that's why she and other people around you will respect your opinion because they know that you're actually giving your thoughts.
But it's hard to actually be the guy that says, I don't like that one.
Yeah. No, for sure. Oh, it's way harder to be the guy that says, I probably wouldn't wear that tonight. It's not good for this or whatever.
Exactly.
Than to say, oh, I love it.
Exactly.
That's the easy way out.
So, but that wasn't, that was something learned over years.
How do you deal with, and this kind of comes to the concept of what we were talking about before, the fact that people will judge you on your name.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you get it every day still to this day,
absolutely.
And the misconstrued realities of who you are. How do you deal with that?
Well, for one thing, I don't care to the extent that, I believe in what I do and what I bring to the table. And when you get to know me, you realize I can't sit around and be angry that people are having this preconceived notion about who or what I am.
Yeah.
All I can do is just keep doing my thing and learn as a brand, as a company, as a creative guy, how do I tell my story?
Yeah.
And then how do I expand my reach?
For sure. That's dope because I feel like, your story starts so early. You're an actor.
Yeah.
Started
13.
off, you know what I mean? Like Lord of the Flies was a movie that like they showed us in school, you know what I mean? Like you learned from that about different...
I still get email letters every day about younger kids who are reading the book and watching the movie now.
How was that? Like, talk about that, being involved with that production and that film as a kid,
It's one of those, honestly, those crazy stories you don't believe.
Yeah.
Right place at the right time.
Because you weren't acting before that.
No, I thought I was going to be a ninja, okay?
Yeah.
Like,
right at that age.
Yeah. Just into like fucking the climbing claws and fucking ropes and ninja
everything
stars
the regular kids want to do.
And I was in school. It's fun. I left San Francisco where I was living like a monk, and I came and I spent a summer with my dad.
Okay, yeah.
He was living out in Tarzana.
Right up here in the valley,
Yeah, and it was that thing you saw in the movies. It was this California ranch with a tennis court and all one story, like classic California, 50s or 60s. And I'm like, I've never seen no shit. I never had a maid or a nanny.
Yeah, you're living in a 2-bedroom apartment with you and your sister and your mom.
I'm living in a one-room dwelling.
Yeah.
And but it's not like we went without, and it's not like, but it's
a different lifestyle.
Totally different life. But I'm like, at this point, I'm 13. I'm already like into girls and this, that, and the other. And I called my mom and I'm like, Mom, I'm staying.
I am not coming back to San Francisco.
I'm not going to sleep on the futon with Anna anymore. Yeah. Dad's got, I have my own bedroom with a TV in it.
Yeah,
like,
at 13, come on, you need your space as a boy.
And I had never been with my father in that way. And so, of course, my mom wasn't going to stop that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I came out here. He put me in prep school.
Yeah.
After having grown up in the Waldorf system. I don't know if you know anything about that.
I know a little bit about it, yeah.
It's based on a German doctor who created a curriculum in the 30s, and now there's hundreds of schools that sort of follow it. He puts me in this prep school, and long story long, the casting agent happened to come into that school, looked at me and a few other kids, gave us a number, and after 6 months of callbacks and this and that, and I got the lead in Lord of the Flies.
Crazy.
And next thing I know, I'm supposed to head down to Jamaica. And because I was in school, I had to make a deal where I was going to be like 2 weeks late. Like they wanted to bring all the kids down and really like kind of rehearsals and all that shit.
For sure, yeah.
A week before I'm supposed to leave, I fall out of a tree and I break both of my wrists. Look at this.
Yeah, I still see the scar right there.
Bone snaps out. 2 pins.
So you're supposed to be heading to Jamaica to film this movie. To star. Leading role.
Star in a movie that took a year to cast. The rest of the cast is already on location.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for me because I had to finish out some school. And I was into rappelling.
Yeah. Too busy being a ninja.
Rappelling, this, that, and the other.
Fell.
Bro, branch, break. And I come down in midair, I spin, and I land like this, bro.
Yeah.
And the bone
came out.
Oh! And I'm laying there, and I'm yelling, and my dad's housekeeper comes up. And I'm like, my arm's fucking broken. She's like, no, it's okay. I'm like, it's fucking broken. Then the ER shows up, blah, blah, blah. I go into surgery. They don't even know if they're going to be able to save the hand. My mom calls Harry, the director, and is like, Balt's in surgery. He broke both of his arms.
We'll see what happens when he comes out.
Well, yeah, but even if and when I came out, I mean, it was done.
Yeah.
So
when do you make it to location?
I'm going to tell you, bro. I'm going to tell you. So they wait almost 2 weeks for me. Then they end up filming the movie sequentially. So for you listeners who may be watchers, listeners, however, you know, you may not understand, but films they're not normally filmed day one
in order the whole way through.
So you might do the end and the beginning and the middle and the end, and has to do with locations and maximizing locations. Because of the broken arm, we ended up filming it sequentially. Yeah. Meaning day one was day one. So halfway through our time, and these healed. Yeah. And this one, they wrapped a T-shirt around to make it look like I heard it in the plane wreck.
Now I got to go back and watch the movie again.
This one has a splint. And so before the take, they would take the splint off. Yeah. And then I would do the scene. And there's actually a well-known image from the movie where my character walks onto the island off of the raft for the first time in his military school uniform, and I have my hand sort of
up like that.
Yeah, it's almost a sort of Napoleon imagery.
And that's because of how your arm was.
That's right.
See, the insider info that we needed here.
The fact that they waited for me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that they changed
the shooting schedule.
So...
Well, you know what? It did become an iconic movie that is timeless.
Did. And the thing is, the director, he had spent a year, and in his mind, he found the guy. Yeah. Like, I can't make this movie if Balt's not there. Ralph. Yeah.
So you continue on. You act. Over the years.
Yeah. Then I did Young Guns 2. About a year later, which ended up being big. I mean,
another
at the
huge
time.
movie. Yeah, for sure. Well, what was it about acting that kept you interested over those, all those years? Because you were in TV, you were in movies.
Yeah, I mean, I've like when other kids were playing Super Mario Brothers or whatever, me and my sister were putting together plays to perform for my mom.
Yeah.
Because the way I grew up, we didn't watch TV.
Yeah.
We weren't. Not like we weren't allowed to. It just wasn't something we did.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't buy plastic toys.
Yeah.
Like Barbies, or everything was done. And I know this sounds sort of extreme and maybe silly, but everything was done with wood and material.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a great way to grow up. I think I grew up very much like that. We were working with my granddad in the garden. We were in the workshop building trays, building whatever it was.
But if you're in the city or whatever and you don't have a granddad with a
shed out the back
whatever, the only way to sort of get that experience is through Waldorf.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to think of myself as a Waldorf kid.
Yeah.
It's a little bit dogmatic and I didn't have the balls to put my kids in it.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the thing, though. But you've gone to a place where you can see what you did learn from it and what was great. But you moved on and you lived a different life.
Yeah.
But there's always benefits from all of these things that we go through.
Absolutely. And in Waldorf, you learn how to crochet.
Yeah.
You learn how to. One year, you had a block of wood.
Mm-hmm.
And without power tools, you had to create a perfect egg. And that was, I think, at least half, maybe 2 semesters.
Damn.
And the way
what were you like
do
sanding
that
it
is
down and chiseling it off?
You cut it down to, a square about this big.
Yeah.
And then you just start, you file it and you make it in the middle where the top is connected.
Yeah.
And the bottom by, thinner and thinner wood.
Yeah.
Then you pop, and I made it, bro.
Yeah.
A perfect
sphere.
Hard,
or egg shape.
Not even a sphere.
An egg shape, yeah.
Yeah, more of an oval kind of a thing. And it's tremendous satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize that.
Well, no, for you to remember that today and to talk about it with that kind of passion, you got something out of that.
Totally. Not just because of its, but think about it on a philosophical level.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it on a human level, on the way you think about. I mean, that's a lot of work, focus, concentration for something that one could argue, what's the point?
Yeah.
I can go to the hobby store and get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, it pushed me to do all
It's a
these
work
other
ethic thing
things.
as well,
Yeah.
and I read that a lot about you, and I hear a lot of people say that you have such an amazing work ethic, and in a position that you are, you wouldn't have to if you didn't want. You know what I mean?
Not necessarily. Not at this point.
Not at this point.
Right.
You wouldn't have to put, hours in the studio or into clothing.
Yeah.
You could sit back and just chill and enjoy the rest of your life.
I could invest my money at this point. I think there's a few reasons why I would never do that.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's not in my DNA to rest on my laurels.
Mm-hmm.
It's also not in my DNA to not be a creative.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like asking me to stop eating or breathing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And a big part of it is the foundation of being raised without privilege.
Mm-hmm.
So that I have much better perspective.
Yeah.
Like what I tell my kids all the time is this: don't be rich fucking brats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do not be. There's nothing worse than an entitled rich kid
Mm-hmm.
who is opinionated.
Yeah.
And he ain't ever done shit.
Because you don't choose to be born into whatever you're born into, but you do choose the path and the personality and how you act with whatever that is, and that's something that I commend you on, because just hanging out, you wouldn't know.
Right.
Which is amazing because I sit with a lot of people with way less.
Right.
But they act as if they have way more.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, we all people here.
Yeah, I hear you. I think, unfortunately, it's not their fault.
Mm-hmm.
there's a concept called bread of shame.
I read that. Yeah, and I've seen you've spoken
speak
about that
it
a bit.
Lot because like a Trustafarian kid or whatever that's getting X amount per month.
Yeah.
Like, and he's not doing anything to earn that. That is not a gift. That is shame in the form of dollars. And all I'm doing is creating shame for you.
Yeah.
If you're my boy, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, yo, Balt, I need 3 or 4 days on the couch while I...
Yeah.
Great. When that 3 or 4 days turns into 3 or 4 weeks, how do you start feeling?
Yeah. You start feeling bad for yourself.
Right?
And bad that someone else is doing the work for you and helping you out.
So
yeah.
that's that in a microcosm.
That's a really good way to explain that.
You know, times a few thousand.
And for years and years and years.
Yeah. So that's why there's so many fucked up rich kids.
When I kind of got that, and like doing the research, and this is why it was also great for me to like have a bit of time to really, you know, dig into your story. Film came out last year about your family, you know, and you know, I know films, and I know some things are true, some things are false.
Few things came out at the same time.
There was the documentary that came out.
Well, there was the so Ridley Scott directed the film. And then there was a series on FX called Trust.
That's the one. Yes.
That Danny
as well.
Boyle from Slumdog Millionaire and blah, 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 he directed. So just out of nowhere, seemingly, these 2 high-profile movies about not just my family, my dad.
Yeah. No, 100% about your dad. If people don't know, you know, your dad was kidnapped at 16 living in Europe.
Yeah.
So how does that feel as you know, like there's these massive programs being made, movies and TV series about you, your family.
Yeah. I mean, again, as a human being, I've tried to learn how to not be reactive because if I get all bent out of shape over that, right? Who does that affect? Me.
Just you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Not the producers of that movie. Nobody.
Yeah.
So why am I... That doesn't mean you can't have strong convictions and this, that, and the other. But I'm not going to be reactive and be out of my, serenity because of somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's the opposite of power. Like when we react...
Yeah.
Honk, yell, ba 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 ba.
Yeah.
That's when you're out of control.
Do you believe that everyone's story, like no matter who they are, that the public or someone has the right to tell that story?
Well, so I sat down with a attorney, a specialist in this exact field.
Yeah.
Infringements, slander. The truth is, in America, if it's public knowledge, meaning printed in a magazine, a newspaper, whatever, the public can do what they want with it. So there's actually so along with all of our freedoms, there's a price. Nothing's free.
Yeah.
So
you're giving up something in order to have something.
That's right, which is fine. And I rather have that set up. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can really do. And if you want a little funny, a little bit of catty gossip, the guy that directed the flick, I'll let your listeners
figure that
out, was a mentor of mine and a dear friend, and he never reached out to even mention...
Really?
And I bumped into him last night.
Wow.
Having not seen him for 5 years.
How does that go?
Well, in my mind, I had played it out. I wasn't going to, again, I'm not the guy, I'm not going to flex on you, but I'm going to be straight. And I'm going to tell you, you did this.
This
is
how I felt.
This way. I'm not losing sleep over it.
Yeah.
But you have so many yes men around you. I'm the rare guy who could be straight.
Yeah.
With people in positions of power.
Yeah.
Because I don't need them. Mm-hmm. And
which puts you in a very unique situation.
But it wasn't the right. There was people around.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I took the high road.
Yeah, no, congratulations on that. You know, and I feel like it's honestly like I'm learning so much more even sitting down with you now, because those kind of things are the misconceptions that people wouldn't expect you to take. You know what I mean? They would not. They would expect you to blow up in a situation like that.
Right.
And flex on him like, how dare you?
Right.
But you seem like you're really in a good place personally.
I am, but I've always been this way because I learned very early on about reactivity, and that who's suffering in the end?
Yeah.
The guy you flexed on or you? Mm-hmm. Depending on who you flexed on, he's having drinks now. He forgot.
He moved on.
You're
and people hold on to that for a long time. And
it's like we know people like this, right? Mm-hmm. They're reactive. They're always, every night somebody's getting yelled at or whatever. Like all of that, it grows, and it's a ball of negativity that starts to swirl in you. So a lot of people think I'm naive. Because I
get that too, though. People will say that about me because I feel like I see a similarity in the fact that we look at things on a positive level, and you try to hope that people are the best person that they can be.
But
and
people think we're like
naive on that. Nah, I get that, bro. And people have said that to me before. And I'm like, you know what? I would rather someone prove me wrong than me put someone in a box and say that they're like that and then shut them out.
Right.
You know, and that's just the person that I am. And, you know, sometimes it's going to hit us in the back.
Do you care when they think you're naive?
No, not at all.
Exactly.
No.
So I'm like, word.
Same thing.
I'm naive.
No, I love that you talked about the good energy, because let's get to the music. You know, that's what we connected on first. You've got, I think it's 2 or 3 singles out now. You got Retail Therapy. Yeah. You got Porsche out. Yeah. You got Money coming out this week.
We have the Riff Raff remix.
The Riff Raff remix, which is fire.
Which they just added to his official playlist on Spotify.
Congrats.
Which was a nice little look.
So where did music start for you, you know?
I mean, music started young. I got my first DJ set up when I was 14. And I sort of grew up like adjacent. I was like the young kid when the Beastie Boys were popping.
Yeah.
Another fun fact, I'm one of the guys yelling "Jump" on House of Pain, "Jump Around."
How do you end up on you're a child actor by coincidence, and then you're on a Beastie Boys record.
Yeah. And then I'm the kid. Yeah, I'm one of the 4 guys yelling "Jump."
Yeah.
And literally. So it was. I'll never forget it. It was me, Eric. Eric slept on my couch before House of Pain got their deal. Yeah. And the first beat I ever sold was to Lethal. And I think Sundubious jumped on it or whatever. But I was like the young kid, but at the same time, I had an apartment. Yeah. And like, he was sleeping on my couch.
Exactly, yeah.
Right before the deal closed. And then Lethal, I soaked up a lot being around him, watching him produce. Yeah. And a guy named Mike Messick's got me my first setup, my Techniques, the 1200s, in the Coffin, used. I remember it was $900. Yeah.
Isn't it crazy that you remember those like little things that people do that they sometimes don't know the importance of what they've done. Yeah. And I sit down with a lot of people that sit in that chair, and they'll bring up something that someone did 15, 20 years ago. Yeah. And I'll be like, does that person know how important that moment was? And they're always like, you know what? I don't think they know.
Yeah, I don't think he does either, but I should reach out. So then I grew up sort of like adjacent, like all my homies were like, rappers, this, that, and the other. I kind of grew up in that when Hollywood was like kind of popping a little
height,
bit.
I feel like,
and a lot of people sort of in the mix. And I actually had my first development deal with a rap group that I was producing. Yeah. Shane Mooney was one of the rappers. I don't know if you know Shane.
I don't know.
He's Paul Mooney's son. If
Okay.
you don't know who
I know who Paul Mooney is, yeah.
Comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Shane's one of the biggest promoters in LA. He has like Le Jardine and like more urban, upmarket kind of urban.
Mm-hmm.
Malik Levy, like we had a rap group called Starship of Fools.
I seen this. I seen this.
And Mercury, I'll never forget, bro. There's Matt Robinson. Shout out, Matty.
Mm-hmm.
He was managing us. Mercury gives us like some development money or whatever. So we go out and we book like the $5,000 a day studio. We only had like $40K all in.
You're like,
Matt
we get 8 days in here.
3 of the rappers are passed out like on top of the pool table. Like the place is trash.
Yeah.
I'm sitting behind the boards.
Yeah.
And like, I'll never forget Matt like he had worked hard to get this, and to get a look is hard, you know?
For sure.
And then like, as like youngsters do, you get a little bit of money, like, so that was my first taste of like producing a record in the studio with an artist
and some backing behind you and a label, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But at that time, for a long time, I was still reliant upon an engineer to do the actual recording.
For sure.
Meaning I had my keyboard, my MPC, my whatever. But at that time, this was still tape.
Yeah.
It was a different
It's a different
thing.
day. It was a different day, definitely. Today, it's so easy for us to record, to master, to do everything. You know what I mean? Like, you can be a one-man show.
Totally. I am.
Yeah.
And so finally, it's kind of a sweet story. For my birthday a while back, Joaquin Phoenix, who, if people don't know, is
Joaquin
nice.
Phoenix
He's nice on that. He's
really
nice on the MPC, bro.
I would never have thought that.
Beats, chopping, rhyming. He's a total like rap. He's like me. That's why we were like super bonded.
So he got you like Pro Tools.
Well, him and my wife
went
halves on a like proper rig.
Yeah.
The HD2 like.
Yeah.
And, you know, the story that's semi-well documented is I locked myself in the pool house for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I came out self-taught, this and that, with an album.
Crazy.
Called Solar Drive.
Yeah.
Which was where I was living at the time. And initially, I just gave it to, like, my friends group. And then they would, like, burn it and give it. And people were coming up and they were like, bro, this album is stupid. You need a... And that's when I formed Purple House.
Yeah.
Initially, just as a way to kind of get
which is now like a label / creative space, because you have your space that you just opened up as well.
That's right.
Which is called The House.
That's right.
And how does that play into the whole thing?
So Purple House Music was the label initially, 3-4 years ago maximum. I mean, we're still a very young company, which people don't realize. I mean, this iteration is maybe a year and a half old. Because I'm always beating myself up like I should be further along. And then I take a step back and I look and I'm like, we've had some pretty good looks.
Yeah.
Like,
in a short
more
span
about
of
being
time.
consistent and putting out good material versus this silver bullet mindset. Like, one thing's gonna, you know,
consistency is huge, and consistency is something that, you know, comes up time and time again.
Yeah,
when when I'm in these conversations, because
absolutely,
if you're not going to continue to do it, people will fall off very quickly, especially in this day and age.
And those are things I had to learn the hard way. You know what I mean? Because I'm a content machine.
Yeah, I can't keep up. You be sending me things. You got the clothing label. You got the music. You got the videos.
Let me break it down for you, so you get exactly, and so our friends can. So at one point, I decided I had too many names.
Yeah,
and it was confusing people.
That happens a lot.
And what we're really trying to tell is my story, seeing things through Balt. So we sort of got rid of the Fazar.
Yeah.
And Balt Getty sort of became the brand, and then my DJ, whatever, just an easier name easier way, to say my name. Purple House Music is the record label.
Yeah.
Purple House Mafia is the clothing.
Which you're absolutely decked out in today.
Yeah, so this is, see, so these are the Chrome Hearts. So one of the projects I did, well, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
It won't be long.
Yeah.
So Purple House Mafia is like, it's like our Kiss Army or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Monk Punk, Balt Getty Monk Punk. Monk Punk's my high-end clothing line. Like,
which you had told me is like gonna be in some cool spots coming up soon.
Yes. So that that took me 2 years of, and again, like, if you take a step back and you look, it's not long for somebody who's never produced clothing to, I'm really proud of that collection.
Yeah.
Like, and the name Monk Punk itself, which is something that came to me in a vision.
Wow.
One night. I was just thinking, and I was like, Monk Punk. Then I was like monk meaning spiritual, and punk meaning like cheeky.
Yeah.
So it's
a little
like,
rebellion in there.
It's like soulful but cheeky.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's dope, and it's dope for people to hear. You know, like even you say, like, 2 years isn't a long time, but like these things that people see for the first time on social media or wherever it is, they think that you thought about that a week before,
right?
And said, let's print something on a shirt.
Right,
It's like, nah, it doesn't happen like that. Like, it doesn't happen like that.
Especially not with the Monk Punk line, because it's one thing to just get a blank and put your logo on it. Now there's apps where you can do that.
For sure.
Monk Punk it's all produced in LA.
Nice.
A portion of everything goes to my foundation.
Yeah.
And it's my fabric, my bodies, my designs, and it reflects that in the price. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
So Purple House Mafia is a way you can still like
be involved in the movement and the culture.
But
there's always going to be different levels. It's dope though that you're doing the thing where you're putting some of the money to the foundations. You do that though. Like, you have you're part of foundation, the Lunchbox Foundation, which is in South Africa.
And JPHRO, which is Sean Penn's. Also Give Love, which is myself, Patricia Arquette, and my wife. We were boots on the ground in Haiti. My lookbook for Monk Punk, I went down to the hood and donated to a youth football league.
Nice.
And then got all the homies to, I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram, some of the homies wearing my Monk Punk shit. Like,
okay, yeah.
We shot the lookbook.
I did see it.
Bro.
But that's dope, because these are the things that I love for people to share and for people to see, because you don't get to see and hear those stories. You hear a lot of, not negatives, but people put people in boxes, and this is what they are. And it's great to see that you do these things and you understand.
That's why I'm launching my own show. Like, we're doing this Day in the Life. Which I like to call a reality show for guys like me with ADD. So it's like a 3-minute.
I like that. Yeah.
It's a 3-minute reality show.
I like that.
Specifically designed for the mobile experience. So most content is, if it's digital, they're expecting at least you're watching it on your laptop, right?
For sure.
Day in the Life is 2 to 4 minutes. And it's reality show for people with ADD.
Yeah.
And that's the way we're pushing it.
For sure.
Maybe there's a charitable component that helps children that are dealing with more extreme conditions. But, most of my moves, I have a guy my partner Adam Roberts film.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like waiting for Crackle to give me a deal or whatever, it's like
go out and create.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and that's for young people watching this, and I get a lot of people that reach out to me say like, "Yo, that was inspiring to hear someone do that." That's a huge thing that I push. Don't go and you don't need someone to come and fund you, to give you, like the place to film it in or help you. It's like,
Absolutely.
Go out and create. And that's what's going to get people to look and really that's how most shows are picked up these days.
Absolutely.
They're already done. They're filmed.
Exactly.
They're cut.
That's
Then
what I
someone
mean.
goes, oh, I love this. I'm going to put it on my platform. Season 2, they do.
Right. Again, this is this idea of waiting for the silver bullet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm waiting for HBO to,
Yeah.
instead of like, wait, you already filmed it. You're kind of halfway there.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? And then I love this idea of the 3-minute reality show.
Yeah, no, I love that because this day and age, honestly, people are moving so quickly, and it's like, and like if you watch it on your phone, that's the new way of watching stuff. My
And
girlfriend always be telling me she'd watch a series on her phone. I'm like,
Right.
watch on your phone?
Yeah.
Like, all right.
I know. So, I mean, some people watch full half an hour.
Yeah.
So the idea with the show is like, hopefully some of the things that you dig about what we're doing will be able to
give you an insight into the behind the scenes and kind of like exactly what this is, like it gives you a really a better understanding about who you are, the story you're trying to tell, which is what they're going to connect with your product, which is your clothing, which is your music as well.
Right. Which is why, like, for Money, which is coming out Friday, if you hear the song, you think of the video, you're going to picture like David LaChapelle, like Girls in Vinyl and Pitbull and this and that. And it's the opposite of that,
Crazy.
It's more like just on the road with Balt Getty.
Dope.
And sometimes I need to be reminded of it. Like, that's what's uniquely mine.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's uniquely yours is 8 years in LA, 2 years there, coming from Australia, blah, 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 blah. That's uniquely your story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you need to push in your own way to get wherever you're going.
Yeah.
But that's all we have is our individual approach to things.
That's that's an amazing way to really wrap that up, and also to like for people to listen and to like really take an inward look and see what they have and what it is that they're trying to tell, because I feel a lot of people get lost in the sauce out here and they don't really even know what they're trying to tell or trying to say or trying to be.
But look, sometimes I fall into that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
we all do.
Many times I need to take a step back and go, okay, what do I want?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I tell young artists or guys that I mentor or guys that want advice or whatever, is I say, first of all, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
If you had a magic wand right now and you could do that, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
And more than not, they don't actually know.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
They want this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know with certainty what you want, nobody around you is, and your friends with influence can't even help you because you don't even know what you want.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, and people come up to me and they'll be like, "Oh, can I get a job?" Or
Right.
I'm like, "What do you want to do?"
Right.
And they'll say, "Oh, I'll do anything."
Right.
It's like, yeah, but what do you want to do? You know what I mean? Well, I can't help you.
Right.
I can't put you in touch with the right person. I can't, whatever it is, unless you can tell me what it is that you want to do,
right.
and then the people around
That's
you
right.
can start to facilitate.
That's what I say. I say to guys, youngsters, whatever. I'm like, you need to create weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So if I give Dust,
Yeah.
a bow with some arrows,
Mm-hmm.
and each one of those arrows is a banger,
Yeah.
you can at least
Real.
with but if I don't give you anything and I'm just like, yo, blah, blah, blah.
Yo, we need to make,
There's
we need to
nothing
put,
you can even do.
yeah, no, for real.
And I had this conversation with one of my best friends who's a rapper. I'm not going to mention his name, but I'm like, bro, even if I was the biggest fan,
Mm-hmm.
you have not created an infrastructure where I can give you money.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no store.
Mm-hmm.
There's not even a T-shirt with your name on it.
Yeah.
So even if I was the biggest fan in the world, I literally
cannot
can't
support
give you
you.
money.
Yeah.
Because
wow, that's a crazy.
You haven't allowed me to.
Yeah, that's a really good.
I said, go make 10 shirts, put your logo on them, and swipe up.
Yeah.
Then I can help.
Yeah.
But you've literally not
given you the opportunity to support them.
Yeah. And I want to.
That's a huge, huge thing.
Yeah. Massive.
At the end of these, I always sit down and I always ask people to really, kind of think and say, what's the one misconception that you believe people have of you that you really have always wanted people to know something about you?
Yeah, but I'm not driven by that.
That's great. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, look, of course, do I want people around me to understand me better? Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm a human being.
Yeah.
We want to be loved. We want to be accepted.
Of course.
I want people to know how much I bring to the table. But I don't let that drive me. Mm-hmm. What drives me is my curiosity, my ambition, the rewards one gets as an artist upon the completion of a project.
Yeah.
Of course, do I want more exposure, more success, more peer recognition, this and that? Of course. And anybody says they don't are lying or not aware of it. Mm-hmm. But that's different than like, damn, I wish motherfuckers just knew this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's driven me to a place where I realize we have to now tell these stories. Mm-hmm. And that's what the 3-minute reality show is about. Yeah. That's what the video is about. That's what the brand is more and more about. Like, let's let them know exactly who I am. Mm-hmm.
Which that's what I think you're doing a great job at.
Right.
I think you're doing a great job at that. And you're going to continue to do that.
Thanks, man.
The music is great, and anything you need on our behalf or my behalf, we always got you.
I love you guys. I appreciate the interest that you've shown. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate, the belief in my movement and the support, man.
Anytime. Anytime. You got it, bro.
I love it.
Balt Getty. Is there anything that we didn't touch on? Anything that you didn't touch on?
Well, no, just like, I don't know when this is airing, but we got the Retail Therapy remix with Riff Raff, which is on Spotify.
All the links. I'll be putting all the links below in here.
All the links. Of course, Money.
Yes.
Which might already
will be out. That'll be out, yes.
Definitely go cop that. iTunes, stream.
I got my Money clip right here. I got the Money clip right here.
Clip. Friday, we're dropping 3 new hoodies, and a lot of things activating. So by the time you guys hear this, just go to Balt Getty, follow me.
Purple House Mafia.
Let's go.